The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB TV.
Y'all ready for this?
Booyah! We are back. It is Wednesday, June 20th, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That means it's time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill, along with
Jeff Belknap.
And once again, we are here to entertain you with our views on sports. And as you can see, we have a couple of in-studio guests, which you'll pick up in a... There they are. They didn't just appear like magic. They are, in fact, here. But as the disclaimer usually says, it is our opinion, and it damn sure is,
That's
and
right.
It is ours, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
And we're going to claim those opinions.
That's right. And if you're back, you clearly enjoy them at some point or another.
Obviously.
And share it with a friend. Good to see you, my friend,
Good
as
to see you.
always.
Yeah.
Good to see
Missed you last week. But
Yes. If you,
Took a week off. It was a little hot outside. So.
yeah, and, of course, the team from up north somewhere, the Golden State somebody or other, wrapped up another championship.
Another championship.
Wasn't even a gentleman's sweep this year. It was the official sweep. And, of course, our beloved Golden Knights, unfortunately, capped off an absolutely miraculous, fantastic Cinderella season. Definitely one for the ages, established some new records as far as the NHL is concerned, and there was absolutely no loser in that series. Congratulations, Golden Knights, on an absolutely fantastic series.
Absolutely.
And now, of course, it's the LeBron Derby has started.
Oh, boy.
Forget the fact that there's a
we gotta
World
get
Cup
Otis in this,
going
too,
on. Forget the fact that baseball is in full swing. Forget about all that. Forget the fact that football, they'll be going to camp shortly. It's where's LeBron and Kawhi Leonard going to end up. That's the only news you see on those folks over at ESPN. That's why I don't watch them.
Well, this is what I always see. No matter how the season ends, I always see LeBron in a Lakers jersey. When he wins, LeBron in a Lakers jersey. When he loses, LeBron in a Lakers jersey. What happens, they want LeBron to go to the Lakers. I mean, is there any chance that he goes to the Lakers?
No,
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Actually, a few weeks ago, you said there was a chance. So you're saying now there's no chance?
There's always a chance. Okay, but if I'm a betting guy, which I'm not,
Right.
he'll tell you.
Yep.
He'll tell you I'm not. If I were a betting guy, I would say probably Houston, and only because it's a road less traveled.
Okay.
You don't have that 1, 2,
Makes sense.
maybe even 3-year project, which the Lakers are. And there's no way the Lakers can get both LeBron and Kawhi Leonard. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I'm sticking with my initial, which was the East. I think he stays in the East. I think that's his easiest road
True.
to championship. So I'm picking Philly. I'm still sticking Philly.
Just still stick with Philly.
But I do think that possibly Boston could happen. But I really do
God,
think
I
that
hope
Philly's
not.
going to happen.
I would really, I would absolutely, yeah. I don't know what I do. I'm just making stuff up as I go along. But there is a plan.
You wouldn't
Check
even
back
be
with
mad.
me. Yeah, I
I
would
mean,
be
unless
very
Larry Bird
disappointed.
was playing or something. Then
No,
you might-
I honestly, I see there's no passion on his part by going to Boston.
Right, I agree.
I think that
It's
he
kinda like
wants to
following
prove
it,
a point by going to the West and eliminating Golden State.
What about the Pelicans?
I think it's good.
Now that would be, I would call
They
that.
get some big. Yeah, got a couple bigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make a run.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't even really considered them, and which is wrong, only because again, it's all I've always had a problem. It's the official state bird of Louisiana, by the way, but
Right.
I've never quite understood that whole thing.
Well, every team is a LeBron away from winning a championship. So, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of teams that are right there if they had that one element, to kind of push them over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not Cleveland, but Cleveland didn't have the supporting characters. There's a lot of other teams that do have supporting characters.
Yeah.
I mean, if he went to Detroit, Detroit would be competitive, like immediately. They'd be like the favorite to win the East. So anywhere he goes is going to be the favorite, basically, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, at least make a run at the very least.
Exactly.
Make a large run. I mean, I don't see. I'm a Laker fan, so I would
Of
love.
course.
And there's a lot of Laker
You're
fans
here.
that wouldn't love it. Oh no, man! Like you're fooling yourself. It's like if you're playing basketball in a pickup game and you don't want the best possible player on the court.
Exactly.
He's like, if this guy can play, I want him. That's just how the game works.
Oh, of course.
So, but I just feel like in the era of, I don't know if he would go to where, like a Kobe Bryant, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he would, like same if he went to like Chicago. There's no way you can live up to what Michael Jordan did in his reign with the Bulls.
Right.
And then the whole argument with the MJ, LeBron, the Kobe, and then going to the Lakers, I just don't see it. Now, he could make a mark there, but I feel like the competitiveness in him wouldn't want to create his own lane. Like I said, with like he can go to Houston and become something, or the Pelicans and make something happen. I don't know. I just don't see it from that standpoint.
So you spoke on the competition.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, who is the best? I mean, in Roy Otis's eyes.
In terms of who's the
Who's
best,
the best player? Who's the best in the NBA? Who's the best ever? Who's the GOAT?
I mean, I'll go off the genre just that I've seen when I follow basketball. I mean, I've got to give it to MJ, and then it'd be Kobe, but then it'd be LeBron. But it's just for a competitive. I talked to Curtis, a friend of mine, and we go at it, and I was like, the crazy thing is the GOAT. It always comes down to the aggressive, the dominant scorer.
Right.
Like, there's always been great players in basketball, but when you talk about the GOAT, they break it down to guys. Like, I tell them like this. I say, if Allen Iverson had been able to do kind of like what LeBron James did, what like Kevin Durant is doing, and been able to shape a solid team around him, and you put what Allen Iverson did, and you put 4 rings with that, he'd be in the conversation.
Absolutely.
Because it's what we're talking about. It's just at the end of the day, when the game is on the line, who is that that ice water in their veins,
right.
That kind of guy? Because it's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. These guys aren't the only great basketball players.
Absolutely.
But when it comes down to dominant scorers, that's what we talk about.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Laker all-time great, you say Kobe.
Yeah, well,
But we all know it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm saying in the era of watching,
right.
like it's like I say, like for football, like in watching football, my generation of when I follow football will be different. So a lot of people will say, like Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, these are guys, but it's like I would be lying if these are guys. Now these are guys that I watched and look up to, but it was just highlights. You're talking about guys like Jerry Rice. These are guys that like I was able to witness the greatness that they did in the game, and I was able to kind of live in that moment.
Right.
Same with you guys. You guys may have a different.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt Barry Sanders.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Well, Barry Sanders wasn't great, but what I'm saying is, the reason I became a Niner fan was because of guys. Because that's kind of how it works. So when I talk, it's like it's tough for the GOAT.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's hard to manipulate all, and then you'll never get to see it because like Kobe's prime, LeBron's prime was different.
Yeah.
They played in the same, but they're different. Jordan prime when Kobe was in the game is different. So you're talking about.
I can tell you one thing: that Kobe nor LeBron had the bad boys, in the Lakers and the Celtics. They were literally take you out. Like when you drove to the lane,
very true.
You knew you were about to get hurt.
You were going to get checked.
Yeah.
You were going to get
You already
checked.
knew that was going to happen, and that's one thing that they didn't have. And I'm not pleading a case for anybody. This is the way I look at the whole thing. And we know that Curtis is a huge LeBron fan. We already know. I mean, he's like LeBron is the guy. But when I look at these players, I don't even compare them that way because each one of them were dominant.
Very true.
I mean, that's the bottom thing. And there is no way to say who's the greatest.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like, is Tom Brady the greatest? Nobody else is doing what he's doing. Even at his age, he's still dominating everybody. So you can't say, anyone's better than him or he's better than anybody. Right now, by far the best. Last year, I remember I was watching some show and they said, do not draft Tom Brady in your fantasy because this is his last year was being good was last year, blah, blah, blah. Guy comes out, dominates, runs to the
Very
goal
true.
league.
That's one thing you got to respect is just the greatness. Like LeBron, I'm a Kobe fan. I feel like you kind of got to draw a line in the sand when you're following, and you just pick your player. So a lot of you guys, they follow LeBron, and then he can do no wrong. If he scores 50, his supporting cast. If he doesn't, it's just like. But for Kobe, I do the same thing with him. When Kobe has a bad game, I'll live with it, and I'll tell him I'll tell him, but I'll tell my friends. I won't tell him personally, but I'm
gonna tag him on Twitter.
Yeah, right. Let me call him up. But
Put the word behind it.
I'll let it be known, like, man, Kobe played a bad game. He played poorly, but it's just like you don't kind of get that. But the generations change. Like, how about you? This is a different generation. Here's a younger guy. Who do you have as the GOAT right now?
NBA.
Best basketball player that you've seen, witnessed.
All
As of
14
now.
years.
As of now, I'll say probably LeBron.
There you go.
All right.
He's got to walk home now, fellas.
Yeah.
He has to walk home.
And
Curtis, you hear that?
Yeah.
you know, I think the whole GOAT thing is dubious to begin with,
Yeah.
Right.
because it does cross generations, and it's just sort of the thing to put out there to start arguments,
Yeah.
because everybody's going to have their opinion. I think that LeBron James is the greatest of all time at this moment,
Absolutely.
and I think that Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time at that moment.
Sure.
And you can keep going and going and going.
Well, I can tell you this: of all time that I've seen, just as me watching ball, I've never seen anyone make the finals 8 straight years.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
particular player,
Yeah.
with different teams. So I have to
Yeah.
kind of give him like the little, I'm
Yeah.
giving him a mark for that one. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
You gotta
impressive.
You got to
You
respect
have
It's
to,
impressive.
and I think that and again, it's always typically the people that are saying, well, no, they're LeBron haters.
Yeah.
And you guys know who you are, like,
Leon.
yeah, that, and they he could score 100 points, and average 50, and a triple double, and he would still be
Yeah.
He didn't
but
win.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't do this.
Right.
And
He just played
he
D.
scratched himself, and I
Right.
mean, it would always be something along those lines.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those statistics, and I think for good order's sake, maybe
That was
I
good.
should.
That was a good little 12-minute tangent right there.
Maybe I
We
should
might have to extend
actually.
this segment right here.
I think I should actually introduce our guests, so people can have
That's so
an idea. Let me please.
We'll see you next week.
We're absolutely pleased
No,
to
that
have
was
our
good.
in-studio guest, Roy Otis, and his son Jaimih. Welcome
No,
to
that's
the
it. Thanks
Southern
for having
Valley
us.
Sports News Show.
I mean, we just jumped right in. Like,
Yeah.
we've known each other for a long time,
Right.
so obviously
Very
it's easy to jump right in, but that's good.
But again, first of all, really appreciate it can get emotional, especially when
yeah.
it comes to
Yeah.
when you're talking about, and if you're NBA fans,
Yeah.
and of course, but I first of all really appreciate the comments from you guys, but also welcome to the show.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
having
much for coming in. Yeah, and yeah,
Right?
and we go back. Roy as a
Long
linebacker.
time,
As everybody knows by now, Jeff and I have been involved in professional minor league football for a number of years at a number of levels.
We were involved in that. Unfortunately, people we were playing were in some
Weren't
pro, but-
quite
yeah.
involved in the same. Let's just say they had a different business plan than we
They
did.
did have a different business.
We'll put it this way: we had a business plan. If they had followed it, we would have obviously changed gears. But Roy, you were with one of the most dominant teams in the United States when it comes to professional minor league football, the Inglewood Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And
we had a pretty good run.
yeah, and you were absolutely you were a king,
Beast.
Vegas king killer, and a Vegas lion killer, and especially that last game with the Lions. Jesus, I think you guys still might be putting points up
Yeah.
on the board.
We had the running clock, and they scored 80 on us. So.
Dropped an 80 on us.
Yep.
That was just cruel.
It was
Yeah.
hot.
Just
That
having
was just
fun.
what we already had our post game deal set up at
Yeah.
at Twin Peaks, which was our,
Yeah, I
our
remember
partner
that.
at the
Yeah.
time.
I couldn't wait to get
So,
over there.
yeah, I was like, let's just hurry up and get this done so we can get over to the Twin Peaks. It's good stuff.
But just to kind of get some background, you went to the University of Houston.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Cougar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and you played again with a team that was clearly considered one of the gold standard as far as professional minor league football. Tony Reed, the owner of the Blackhawks, and really kind of laid the foundation for that team for all these years. And Tony and myself and Jeff, we've stayed in contact. So now you've actually moved to Las Vegas.
Yes,
and,
sir.
you have your son here now, Jaimih, who's 14. And thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So, first of all, what was the motivation to move you, to Las Vegas?
Well, to be honest, I can't take the credit at all. It was my wife. I'll be honest. My wife, she's
in studio.
Yeah, she's here. My wife, she made the move. She started applying for jobs. She said, you know what, I think Vegas is where we should be. And I was like, yeah, but our family, she was just like, I think it's the move that we should make, and we made the move, and it's been the best decision that we've made, in the past few years. So, I mean, we love it. I mean, the school system here, it works for our kids. They're in a pretty good charter school here in North Las Vegas. So, my wife, she settled in, and the football scene is growing out here.
Oh, yeah.
They got the sports team. The Raiders are coming. The Golden Knights made a magical run the first year.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's a good time to be in Vegas, to be honest with you. And I'm proud to say that that we're Las Vegas residents here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So is this your first summer? Or you guys kind of moved at the end of last summer.
No, we kind of moved. We moved here. I want to say in November.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016.
Oh, okay.
So
So you did go. You've been through a summer.
Yep,
already.
yeah. So we've been through a summer, and I've been here to visit.
Of course.
It's okay, you're casually here, and then you go out to a pool or something, but to live in it is a whole nother ballgame. And then to find out that you live in it, and then my son, we play football,
Right.
or I coach, he plays football, and to be around it and be in it, and then it's just like 110, 115,
Yep.
and it's just like, it gets brutal, but I tell you what, it's good, man. We try to make the best of it, and we train in it sometimes. We try to get out, just battling the elements. You know what I mean? You figure if we can withstand it, these people from 80-degree weather with the cool breeze, they're going to be in for a rude awakening.
That's
so,
true. That's
so we
true.
try to make the best of it, and it's good. I mean, the winters are great.
Well, the way I look at it is there's 2 months of bad weather, which
Yeah.
is basically now.
Yep.
Like if you can endure these 2 months, then you've
You're
got
fine.
10
Yep.
months of like reasonable weather. So
The funny thing is talking to people from all over, like maybe Chicago, and I'm like, yeah, man, it just gets pretty cold down here. It gets in the 40s, and they're just like, oh, wow, that's t-shirt weather for us. So it's just like, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really complain, like you said.
yeah,
For a small amount of time, you deal with the heat in your shirt.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. But for the most part, man, it's good, and we love it here.
yeah, that's great. That's great.
So how do you like it here so far?
I like it. I like it a lot. I've met a lot of new people here.
Mhm.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's kind of balanced. It's kind of different from California, the weather, and it's not so crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not
People
yet.
are moving.
They're coming.
They're moving.
they're definitely coming.
Wait till the Raiders get here. We'll
Oh
see.
man.
Yeah. So what school are you going to right now?
Well, right now I'm going to be attending American Preparatory Academy,
Okay.
and that's in, I think, Henderson area. Yeah, and I just came from Somerset, North Las Vegas.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it was around like my house. Now I'm going to a school closer to like about 30 minutes away from my house.
Yeah, you're pretty much 30 minutes away from anywhere.
Yeah.
For sure.
Unlike Southern California, where you might be 30 minutes away from about 1 or 2 miles away.
Right. Very true.
But it is easy to get around.
Very true.
Especially out the
Yeah,
405, right?
there are. Most people don't realize in a relatively small city there are 32 high schools here.
Yeah.
In fact, you'll see some that are actually literally blocks away from each other on the same street, but actually 2 different school districts.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. So in a way, there's you sometimes have this sort of dilution of certain programs simply because based on the boundaries that they have. But it is the sports scene, particularly the football scene, is generating a lot of buzz with regard to young men who are playing here locally, who are being heavily recruited across the nation. You have, of course, the big dog here in town, Bishop Gorman. They're on ESPN, several times a year. They travel. They've
Great
got a
facility, obviously.
fantastic facility. We've had a number of the students,
Players,
football players, here on the show.
Yeah. No, they set
Yeah.
the standard here.
Yeah, it's kind of considered the gold standard.
Yeah.
By many, but that doesn't discount the other programs here. There's just a number of schools that are ranked nationally
Yeah.
that are public schools here,
Yeah.
here in Las Vegas as well.
Very true.
So was football just a natural move for you?
Yeah, I would say, it was more of a natural move. I kind of fell off of it a little bit when I was younger. I didn't really, I didn't really know what to play at all. I tried different sports, and then I fell
Good.
back in love with football, and I
Good.
was like, yeah, it's just the right path for me, and I just fell in love with it ever since.
Yeah. What else did you play?
I played basketball,
Okay.
yeah, and that was one, and I played soccer too.
Soccer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, soccer. Jay Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. Definitely. Here.
Yeah.
So you're playing now. So obviously we're your off season right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were playing for before that. Who were you playing for before?
I was playing for the Inglewood Jets in California. Yeah, but I've been playing with them for like most of my life
Okay.
since I was like 8, and then once we moved to Vegas, I played for the Bishop Gorman Gators, and I feel like
Yeah, that's the track program straight to
That is-
straight to
that is the
straight to
track
Bishop
program.
Gorman. Yeah. I think they run the same playbook. I mean, wouldn't be surprised. Where'd you live in SoCal?
in SoCal. I lived in Hawthorne, California.
Hawthorne. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because you know, I mean, you said that you went to Inglewood.
Yeah.
School there in Inglewood. Yeah. Inglewood High class of '75.
Oh, there you go.
Sentinel Pride.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, he lived in Inglewood most of his life. We moved to Hawthorne just before we headed out
Okay.
here. So like the last year we were in, but yeah. The wife's born and raised in Inglewood. Yeah,
Nice.
I resided.
Yeah.
We lived there for a while. Yeah, she's repping it hard. so-
Inglewood or Morningside?
Yeah,
Inglewood or Morningside?
I actually went to Westchester.
You went to.
See? Shit. I guess not Inglewood repping.
Well,
I guess.
straight down Manchester.
Right.
Straight down Manchester.
Right.
Get off the bus right there across the street from. Okay. Yeah.
It's good though. He practiced at Derby most of his
Derby Park?
Yeah, his
Oh, yeah.
youth. Yeah, so it's good. But yeah, like you were saying, Bishop Gorman, of course they set the gold standard like you said, but I really it's starting to even the playing field out with just
Yeah.
the talent that's kind of being spread around because
Yeah.
just being in the Pop Warner circuit and like you get to see these guys that are up and coming, the next up.
Oh yeah.
And they've got some really good talent, and not necessarily everyone goes to Gorman because I mean the
Yep.
reality is everyone can't go to Bishop Gorman, and that does not mean that that's the only place you can get offers. There's a lot of people like Desert Pine, Sierra Vista is starting to be on the
Palo
move.
Verde, yeah.
The
Palo
thing is,
Verde.
like, and this is one school like I like to plug in a sense.
Mhm.
Clark, the highest academic program in the city,
Mhm.
is a magnet school, so
Yeah.
anyone can go there. Still hurting in the football aspect, and I
Yeah.
think people are looking at it. They want that Bishop Gorman scholarship and the notice and
Mm-hmm.
everything else, but they're willing to pay $15,000 a year for that.
Yeah.
Clark, you get the top program in the country. I mean, in the state of Nevada for sure. And it's
Yeah.
public school,
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that they put ahead sometimes winning
Mm-hmm.
in front of that, but not to see that there's scouts are checking out all these high schools.
Yeah.
These guys are looking at all these high schools. There's guys coming out of Chaparral. There's guys coming out of
Yeah.
Bonanza. There's guys coming out of all these different schools,
Mm-hmm.
not just Gorman anymore.
Yeah.
So it used to be like you had to go to Gorman to get a look. Now it's like, hey man, there's talent in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yes.
You know, let's see what let's see who's around.
I think the reality of it is you just got to put in the work.
That's right.
I mean, a lot of people see Gorman, and some people will, because I've seen people enroll into Gorman thinking that like an offer will come with with
Just
your
being
spirit
there.
pack.
Just
You know what I
simple,
mean? Like
yeah.
it's just not how it works.
Enrollment, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as great as Bishop Gorman was, I think maybe 6 or 7 offers were. So there's still not as many.
But
as
you're talking D1 offers.
Division I, yes.
There's a lot more if you put in the Division II and
Yes,
and
yes,
other
but
stuff.
what I'm saying is from the perception of what people are seeing.
That's
Everyone's
right,
seeing is like perception of just like you go there and you're set. It's
Yeah.
just like if you go anywhere and you put the work in,
That's right.
you can see
That's how
reap
it
the
is.
benefits. So that's why I tell people because I'm good friends with a lot of guys, a lot of coaches at Gorman. What I mean, they recruit their guys and kids and parents, just being in the Pop Warner circuit, and I tell them, you have to do what's right for you and your family.
Right.
So if you guys go there and you see that this is the best opportunity for you guys to be successful for you and your family, and it works for you, then by all means,
Absolutely.
Bishop Gorman is a great place to be, but it is not the only place to
It
be.
is not the
I
only.
You
agree.
can go to there's like you said, there's plenty of places where you can get a free education. You can go somewhere and you put the work in, and the sky's the limit.
With
So,
solid coaching at the same time.
very
Right.
true, and I
Yeah.
think that's a big component.
Yeah.
we talked about it before off air. It's just the key because you want to be able to be somewhere where it makes sense. So if you go out there and I see that we may be, they're still doing Pop Warner drills or their offense is a little elementary. You got to really start to look at the reality of it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's what these high schools are doing, but you have to do what's best for you and your kid.
Right.
And that's what I tell them. So if they're, because what happens is people get there and then they complain and they'll sit there and then they'll complain. You have to do what's best for you and your family. And that's the same thing that I said to my son when his players come and I talk to parents. If it works for you, if Bishop Gorman, the youth football team, if you feel like we're maybe pushing them or you feel like we're not doing what you would like to do, then by all means, you mean find happiness wherever you would like to find it. Best of luck to you, but don't be, locked into somewhere where you're not comfortable, or you're not, feeling where you can be at the best of your ability, both from the youth and high school.
So how do you feel like when your dad's out there coaching you? And I'm really putting you on the spot right now, so I had to ask that question. So what do you think? I mean, and he'll buy you dinner anyway, and he's not going to make you lunch. So go ahead.
Him coaching me is more of he pushes me because he knows what I'm capable of, and
Right.
it's more of like he may give me, if I mess up, he may yell at me a certain way, but I know that he's just trying to get me better in what I'm doing.
Right.
And he knows, like I said, he knows what I'm capable of, and it's just getting me better.
Awesome.
Just like how we rehearsed it. Good job.
And now let's ask you, how does it feel to be coaching your son?
I tell you what, man, it's not easy because of everyone. The perception is the daddy ball. They get the whole situation. Where I like to do the opposite with my son. Like, I coached linebackers for the last 8-9 years in youth football.
Mm-hmm.
My son has been the starting linebacker just this past season. So for 8 years that I've had my son, he has finally played linebacker, and he's finally started this year. Because I just have to be real with him. I have to be real with everybody. If there's the best player available, now we were able to move him and put him to help us out on the team. But it's just, I want to be realistic with someone else's kid. Same with my kid. If I feel like you're not ready this year, he's put in a ton of work, and he's worked his butt off being out here in Vegas, and he stepped up to the challenge. He was young, playing with the older kids from 12. He was playing with the 14s so for the past few seasons he's been playing older with the older kids. So he kind of took that challenge, and I really respected it, and he worked, and he didn't just kind of, well, Dad, just start me, Dad, just you're the coach, that's not how it worked, so he worked his butt off and he earned it. So now I can sit up there and tell the other kids that are behind him, he earned it, once you guys are ready, you'll step up. So it just kind of just setting the standard of doing the right thing out on that football field. If you're this stud and you're missing practice, it's just now as great as you are, you're really going to help our team, but it's just setting a bad example. Because if that same person can miss, then so can this other guy can miss, and then he can. Those are the things that we want to be able to knock out. And you see a lot of these guys, they just kind of push it because he can help us win. But he can score 6 touchdowns, so maybe he doesn't have to be a practice.
Well, I can tell you this, that my dad was my coach growing up. I played baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, but I played baseball mostly when I was a little kid. And my dad made me hit and hit and hit.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize that when I went home after practice, I was at home, and he was like throwing me balls and throwing me balls and throwing me balls. So there was a lot more to it than just, like I had to earn my position. I was a center fielder, and for a reason, my dad was, he made me run, and he made me fast.
And you respected him more when you earned it.
But I realized that I could beat those other players. So this is what I'm gonna tell you: beat those other guys. Just keep beating them, because the more guys that you beat in your position, the faster everything is gonna progress for you.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it is just it's how you play on the field, but it's also off the field. Like you're getting at the point right now where the off the field stuff matters. People are gonna start looking. So
Yeah.
I mean, we deal with a lot of high school guys.
Yeah.
And obviously the three of us know a lot about the other guys who were really good that made mistakes. So
Yeah, very true.
a lot of it's like just kind of keeping the reins in and doing the right thing.
Yeah, a lot of it was my dad that he kind of instilled the same thing, because as great a run as I had with Inglewood Blackhawks, as good as I would play, he would be the guy after the game. He's like, yeah, you did pretty good, man. You missed those 2 tackles. You got outran there. He was like, he always keep me humble. And so it was like everybody would talk about, man, Roy, you're such a beast. He'd be like, it's just like, but it kept me, because it was just like, dang, he saw that. It's like, I can't act like I didn't do it. I knew. It's just like everybody sees the good, and he sees the things that I need to work on. So it kind of helps you drive. So,
but the key thing is making that a positive thing.
Yeah.
It's making it into like, hey man, this is where you miss it. This is where you need to progress. And I think that a lot of coaches fail at that, especially at the high school level. I mean, they're looking at the guy like, oh man, he missed that. Let's just find somebody else.
Yeah.
Instead of actually developing that player.
Yeah,
So,
very true. Yeah, so we've had long drives home after games and just
way you're
Yeah,
like, oh,
I'm-
no,
I'm-
Dad, we're right here. You're like, no, I got
I'm
this.
sure he feels like, oh my God, Dad, I can never do right, but it's just getting better because
That's right.
I tell him what, man, it's like those are things that I wish that you want to be able to give your son the best possible opportunity to be successful.
Absolutely.
So when it comes down to it, and these are things that me being in that path of football and college and Division I, and just seeing the small things that I slipped up on. And a lot of it is just not taking advantage of the opportunities when they presented themselves at a young age. Just being, you know what I mean, just being able to own up to and being accountable. You know what I mean? So I tell them, you know, we make plays, you make an excuse.
Yep.
It's either or.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? You're gonna get out there. You're gonna make it
Absolutely.
happen. No one cares. And this is just in sports. Period. No one cares about the great story that the Philadelphia Eagles had unless they win the Super Bowl.
That's right.
If not, it's just Tom Brady the GOAT and holding up another trophy.
right.
But now that the Philadelphia Eagles were able to withstand it, bounce back, and you know, with Nick Foles and create a story, it's just like no one cares about the backstory. If you don't win, unless you have to win.
Yeah.
After that, then people want to know. People inquire. You know what I mean? But I just tell them like we just got to keep working.
Well, Philly had to win at some point.
Yeah.
Just like the Lions have to win at some point.
Yeah, my dad is a huge Cubs fan.
Oh, yeah?
And I
Nice.
tell him, and they finally got theirs, you know. And I tell him, I was like, man, that's good, because I was tired of just seeing him sit in front of that TV for the longest with that Cubs, and he just always just had that, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
This is our year. And I mean, my whole childhood, I just would watch him sit, and it was just, and they finally got it.
Yeah.
I was like, Dad, like he was just like, yeah,
Well, the hardest part for him probably was the other guys winning a couple.
yeah,
You know, the White Sox.
White
Right.
Sox winning.
Right,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
The Marlins.
stuff.
I mean, yeah. Then it starts to get a little difficult. I think that everybody was happy to see,
Oh, finally,
in some
yeah.
way, shape, or form, the Cubs
Yeah.
win. Except, of course, for people in Cleveland.
Right,
But
right.
they clearly it was just one of those feel good stories.
Very true.
and,
Well,
you
Game
know,
7 was a really good game.
Yeah.
The way
And
that Cleveland came back.
and
then
an
the Cubs
absolute
came back.
roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those kind of endings that nobody, again, except for we know somebody in Cleveland,
Right.
except the folks in and around
Yeah.
Lake Erie.
People root for the underdog. You know, we
right.
all,
This is true.
Yeah.
And I think Cleveland had a story there themselves.
Right, very true.
So, but nothing as long and as stretched out as far as like the Cubbies are concerned.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So I heard some breaking news that you'll be coming out of retirement for the spring.
Yeah. Well, see, just the way that my ligaments and bones are set up. You know, we'll see. Like I said, my son, he's getting older. You know, when I was making that run, he was 4 and 5. He was in the little highlight videos as a little kid, you know, just jumping. And now he's 14, 15, you know, playing linebacker, you know, playing pretty good ball. So I'm just devoting a lot of my time to it. You know, if I can get some free time, I would love to come out there and mix it up with him.
Well, this is what I said. Just so you know, Tony and I spoke today. He said you were playing. I said you weren't. So we're gonna talk after the show.
So I guess
about-
that's another. I guess that's an over/under. Seeing as we're here in Vegas, you know, what's the spread on that?
Yeah,
Is
that's
Roy
good.
going to take the field? I tell you what though, I didn't let the wife know, so she's here in the studio. So
So this is really breaking news.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Awkward. Yeah,
I'm
but
sure. Well,
but,
I apologize for throwing that out there.
but nah, it's good. You know, I love Tony, man. He's always been like a mentor to me. You know,
Yeah,
he's
he's a good dude.
he's always did right by me, man. And I've always rocked with him. So you know, I really appreciate what he's done for me and my family. And you know, he always puts his best foot forward when it comes to football. And I thought that he really uplifted the semi-pro. You know what I mean? Like just the brand as a whole, just in SoCal. You know, and even kind of putting our stamp. Just nation, because I tell you what, a lot of people weren't getting the #1 in the nation things like on the West Coast.
Right.
It was happening a lot on the East Coast, like you know, like
Yeah.
a Connecticut team or a New York team would be #1. We just didn't understand it, and then to where we just like you know what, we just have to go out and challenge them, and we ended up going to Florida and beating one of the teams, and from then we got notoriety, and it helped out because now there's other teams that have emerged, you know, like the Trojans have kind of like been the new hot on the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just a lot of up and coming teams. A lot of these developmental teams are starting up. The Coyotes are kind of coming up into play. But yeah. So the Coyotes, they kind of ran away from competition this past season. But
They play each other.
yeah, right.
They
yeah,
have like a camp that has 3 teams. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
play each other.
Yeah,
It's kind of like practice.
Yeah, they pick up and then they play those teams twice. Yeah, little pickup games. Yeah. But they're actually a good
Nothing against
program.
them, by
Yeah,
the way.
they're a good program. I just wish that they took the more competitive approach.
Right. Well, I mean, we know that leadership has a lot to do with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
We digress.
Yeah, right,
Yes,
right.
we do.
Yeah. It's a little too much airtime there.
Yeah, I'm not related to it.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, they're good. Herb,
I did.
Herb,
You know what? I heard a lot about the All-Star game that he put together.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
I tell you what, man, I was able to be a part of it. Kind of like as like a grandfather, I guess, in that game. There was some really good talent. I mean, there were guys that were drafted.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some really good talent there, and also Coach Corky from the Bay Area. So they really put together something special. So a lot of good talent from the Bay came down, and it's a lot of youth guys that really have an opportunity to still make a run. You know what I mean, professionally. So you get a lot of guys. It was amazing to see. There was, the quarterback, I think, was from Arizona. I mean, we had a slot guy. I mean, I don't know what he ran. He has to be in the 4.2.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
this guy was a blazer. I mean, he kind of changed the game. But just to be around that at the semi-pro level, and it's just like, wow, this kind of talent that's still not picked up is just like, and I tell him, like, it's just a number. A lot of people think that, oh, you're not in the NFL, you're not good. It's like, it's not the case. You know what I mean? Like 100 people going to camp for every team.
Right.
Yeah.
100 people going to camp for every team, and they cut it down in half before every season. Like those are 50 each team that start camp. So
What I know is this league that being started up in the spring, the NDFL, LDFL, will have relationships.
yeah,
And we're already reaching out to leagues and overseas for these guys to be able to develop and go through and play. So the avenues will be opened.
Yeah.
And eventually this has to happen. I mean,
Yeah,
they're already
exactly.
talking about minor league teams and leagues already. This has got to happen.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of talent in Vegas. There's a bunch of talent in SoCal and Arizona
Very true.
and even Utah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's talent there that's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. I mean, the Utah team went right through and won the spring league this
Yeah.
year, and I mean, just mowed down everybody, shutting
Yeah.
out like some of the top opponents in the
yeah, it's a
on
lot.
the
It's a
West
lot
Coast.
of it's a lot of good untapped resources because a lot of guys are coming out of college and they're just not understanding or not open, or there's just not avenues for them to. Because some of these guys, I mean, the semi-pro team, a lot of guys, they don't practice. They
Right.
don't take it serious.
Yeah.
You get guys that are really serious about trying to come into camp. So just being involved in something like that, like Herb is starting a team called the Wolfpack, and they're a developmental team, and I've seen their practices, and it's another star-studded squad. They've got a lot of young talent going in, so I wish them the best of luck.
So
you know.
they're playing in the fall.
Yep. And I want to say that they're playing in the league with
PCFC.
I'm not sure. Yeah, don't quote me on that. But they have an Instagram. I think the Cali Wolfpack
Okay.
is their Instagram.
'em
So
out.
check them out. But yeah,
I've always watched what Herb does, and I don't know him personally,
Yeah.
but I've always kind of watched what he does, and to me, he's like always the guy that's in
Yeah.
the forefront of setting
Yeah.
stuff up,
I tell you-
which is great.
I tell you what. When it comes to Herb, and I tell him, and then as a friend, I say, you are that guy that will just think of random things to do, and then actually do it.
That's right.
It's like I respect you for it. I just hate the hundreds of ideas that you throw at me. It's just like,
Hey, who's that sound like?
yeah. But it's just like, it's a great way to think. Like just let it fly. If it doesn't
Right.
work, it doesn't work.
Spit
But,
it out there.
He will come to me. You know what? I think I'm gonna do an All-Star game. But I think I'm gonna go the best in NorCal against SoCal. But I want guys that are like young, working out every day, taking it seriously. Not the guys that are just kind of sitting at home, just waking up still looking off their all-conference accolades in high school.
Right.
You know what I mean?
9 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, and I was just like, all right, Herb, all right. And then next thing you know, I mean, it was a huge, turnout. So it was
Huge
just,
success.
yeah, it was just like just the things he does. Like he did the Lego Bowl, the San Diego against, it was just,
remember that, yeah.
So it was just like just things that he does. It's just like, I hate when you bring them to me, but it's like, but it works. I respect what he does.
You hate when he brings
Oh
them
man,
all to
yeah,
you.
because you have to, because you see,
You have to sift through
yeah,
it, tell
everyone
what's
else
good.
sees
What do you
works.
think about this?
You see, I see the 40 other things that didn't work. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just like, so it's just like the things like that is just like that. But that's who Herb is.
He
That's good.
probably
That's
feels
good,
that
yeah.
you're a sounding board.
Yeah.
And that maybe you'll help him separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah. So, but he talks to me and he kind of gets what my ideas, and then I'll kind of be like, sounds retarded to me, but and then I'll kind of, well, maybe if you did this, and he'll take it. All right, cool. He'll shape it up and do things like that. But yeah, no, Herb, T. Reed, like Jeff, you guys, like these are guys that like really have shaped semi-professional, semi-pro ball. And what Herb is really trying to do is really trying to get away and really give the people that really want that opportunity to be successful and make a run at it, to give them their platform to do so, and not think that, because the reality is a lot of scouts, they look at semi-pro and they just think of that guy just coming off the couch.
That's right.
There's a lot of guys that train every day, they work really hard at their craft, and it's just kind of pushing a platform for those guys that want to be out there. So
Well, we're going to do that in Vegas, not us, but
okay.
as a group,
There
we're
you
going to
go.
do that in Vegas. That's what I was telling Tony, that you're actually going to come aboard with us. And he was,
Oh, okay. Is it? Dun, dun, dun.
he didn't think that was going to happen, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, right.
No, but my whole thing is, and the reason why I got involved in just semi-pro in general was because I wanted to give opportunity to youth. Bill and I have committed our show to prep. That's why we had you on today. We always reach out to those kids. We are always trying to find somebody that we see that's fit. That this kid's got the right background. He has the right support system. He has everything else, and we want to help develop him. We want to get him out there. So we get you guys on the show. We want to throw people out there. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. And that's what kind of like gets us going. Like when we have a guy on the show and then he gets accepted on Michigan State, we're like, yes.
Yeah. it's
I don't know
good.
why he went to Michigan State, but Jacob, we talk about that. But
He's
I'm
a
a
stud.
Michigan
We
guy.
watched him. Yeah, we
I'm a
watched him.
Michigan guy, and like I want everyone to go to Michigan. We had Dorian on. I want Dorian to go to Michigan.
And he's going to where?
UCLA.
That's right.
Starting next. Actually, I saw his countdown. Next week they're going to be at practice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I just took him to the SC camp last week, and we ran into EA.
Oh, nice.
We ran into
Okay.
EA. He's heading to class, so he's getting settled in because they're
beautiful.
starting up camp
Good
at
for
SC.
him.
So yeah, he looks good. So I mean, he's ready to roll with that. I mean, I tell you what, they've got a really good class coming into
Yeah.
SC this year.
Yeah.
I mean, a really good class with JT Daniels and EA.
Is that enough USC talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, is my mic off? Is it working
He's
now?
like, what?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, but to be honest, SC has always had a really good class coming in, so it's just all behind. I mean, I like to see some really good things coming out. But UCLA, I mean, Dorian is a great prospect. One thing that we went to Bishop Gorman's practice yesterday. One thing is just the way that they prepare, just the things that, and they get them prepared for, for college, and just the everything that they do, from the weight room to everything that they do. And it's like, a lot of people think that they just get the best talent.
Right.
They get some talent. They
Yeah.
get some talent to come in, but just their regiment, the things that they do, their film study, their attention to detail, things like that. And it's just like, those are the things that keep these kids sharp and that prepare them. So kids that maybe not as talented, but just the preparation gets them over the hump.
Well, I think what it is not necessarily the best talent, but getting the best out of the
I
talent.
agree. I
So
agree.
when you got that kid that's like average and you can push him to an all-star, that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of average players, and most of them are because there's no one there behind them.
Yeah.
There's no one believing in them. There's
Very
no one
true.
supporting them. When I was a young guy, I brought in my yearbook,
Yeah.
my senior yearbook,
Yes, you
starting
did.
wide receiver,
Okay.
6'2", 152.
Wait a minute.
6'2", 152.
Lean and mean.
Okay.
But the reason why high school coaches didn't pour into me is because I was 152. I look at myself now, 230. I'm an NFL size.
Right.
I'm an NFL size guy. But no one was pouring into me because they looked at me and said I was small. And they told me I was too small. They told me I was too small to play. And I literally tried to walk on to colleges and play. And
Yeah.
I looked at some of those guys and said, nope, not today.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting hit by that dude.
Yeah.
But the difference was that guy coaching
Mm-hmm.
in high school and my coaching in high school. So I understand the whole concept.
Very
and
true.
what your dad is doing for you ultimately is really a blessing. And you
Yeah.
sometimes you might not see it as a blessing.
Yeah, like it was about 106 today, man. We ran some hills today, so
Yeah.
yeah. We kind of got the best out of them today. We kind of got the best of them, but I tell him like one thing that if I can instill into him and as well as the kids that I coach is I tell them, when they get tired, just never let a coach break you.
Yeah.
You always want to work your butt off. If you're tired, you never let them see you sweat, and those are things that you can take. You know what I mean? So just when we work, and then you get out and you get out and practice, and then so you get guys that are like, oh yeah, well, he's talking, so we're gonna do 20 up downs, and you say, oh man, we like just that demeanor. It's the same thing in the game. It's the same thing. So I try to instill in them is never let them see you sweat. Fourth quarter, you're tired, keep your chest up, and it's all about the morale of how you feel, and it's contagious with your teammates. So those are things and we just try to get the best out of players and get them working. So
Yeah, I mean, when that guy does that and he's talking, you be like, all right, guys, let's get it. You just
Yeah.
get down there and get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's all that ultimately is going to do is improve you as a player. So, absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Good
Yeah,
job.
it's great.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah. So you're working with any of his buddies, teammates, or?
Yeah. So we've got I tell you what, Bishop Gorman has a really good freshman class coming in, and I will say that I didn't think that they got the best talent the last 2 years, but I think this year I can honestly say that they probably have the best incoming freshman class, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Now there are some good, like Liberty has real good. We've been working with another kid, Jaimih Bernard. He's really good. He's kind of like the next up in my opinion. He's a receiver, safety, corner. He's about 6. I mean, this guy can fly. I mean, in our championship game, he was everything for us offensively and defensively. So I just think that there are a lot of good
He's
players.
playing on Liberty.
Yes, he's going. He's incoming at Liberty. So we work some hill work, just speed, just things like that. We want to let them get into the football things because I don't want to deter them into what their coaching is doing. But it's just hills. A lot of just footwork and a lot of just trying to just get better. We're just working on our craft. So that's one thing. He lives not too far, so we try to work. There's a lot of up and coming kids. Cam, the running back that's going to Bishop Gorman now. There's a lot of good.
I've seen some talent in.
Yeah. Sierra Vista has got 2 really good running backs coming in, DeAndre and Ferrari.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I believe they'll probably be varsity. They've got a couple of. I know they've got a safety receiver, Jet, going there. So one of the coach's kids, he's Solomon, so he's really good. Like I said, just being around the town, I just feel like it's a good time to be a part of Vegas football.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I agree with that.
it's really good. So I think the talent is spreading out. I think Gorman has finally got the best recruiting freshman class they're coming in. I think Liberty beat them out. I think Liberty, the freshman class they had last year was amazing. Yeah, I think that a lot of their guys could probably play varsity.
Especially their linemen.
Yeah.
They just get they just fuel up on the linemen.
They,
man.
they
It's
get some
unbelievable.
studs. So it's good to see. Arborview's got some studs. I really think that like we said, like it's going to be some good football being played this year for Las Vegas. So I'm excited to see both youth and high school. I feel like I don't know if people will get over I don't know if they'll be able to. I think they'll be able to close the gap a little bit from the Bishop Gorman, because I tell you what, they had some really good superstars for Bishop Gorman for the last few years.
Right.
And I feel like this is kind of like the last step. Now it's like the new generation where they have to, invent themselves and showcase what they're about. But it also gives opportunity for the other guys in this area to kind of showcase.
We had Dorian on right before the beginning of the season.
Okay.
And one of his key things was like he realized that being on varsity all those years, this was his first opportunity to actually start and play.
Yeah.
So when you look at his varsity record, that's a 1-year record.
Yeah.
And you look at guys that are passing on. We got Martell, which will be Ohio State's quarterback this year. And when you see stuff like that, and you see these guys graduating to the next level, that's why we do this. That's why we do.
Yeah.
That's why you're doing what you do, because
Exactly.
I get excited about that. I get excited to watch kids that are young growing up. I mean, we've had Keon, which is my little nephew,
Yeah.
and he's up winning races. And the next thing you know, now he's telling me wants to play football, and he's playing football. And I saw him run like 60-yard run a few weeks back, and I'm like,
Nice.
That's it. That's what I'm
Is he
talking
at track?
about.
He's running track.
He ran track for all these years, but
Oh,
he just
nice.
started playing football. So
Yeah. And I tell you what, man, that is I tell you, when we work off season, lately we've been just trying to do track. Just try to do track work, just working on our speed. Because one thing I tell him, he's like, we got to work on things that you need to work on.
yeah,
So if they say that you're a great hitter, you're physical, well, in the off season, that's not what we're going to work on.
right.
You gotta gain some top end speed. Let's be able to be sideline to sideline. Don't be just a one dimensional linebacker. You kind of want to be an every down linebacker. He maybe even wants to dabble into the offense, maybe play some running back. So it's just like, well, these are things that we should work on in the off season.
Well, you're a linebacker. Who's your favorite linebacker in the NFL?
In the NFL right now, I say so many. Well, the linebacker I did like, but he got hurt. It was Ryan Shazier.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really liked him. He was physical. He could get all around. He was fast. And, yeah.
He's fast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big Luke Kuechly fan.
Yeah.
That dude, like, he was always impressive to me.
Yeah.
But when I saw him do the box jump,
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this dude is an all-out athlete. And what he showed to me was, like, the core strength. It wasn't
Yeah.
just about, like, being fast and being all that. It's like your core. If your core is strong,
Yeah.
it
Very
takes you
true.
to a whole new level.
And that's what I told him. I was like, man, those back in the day, man, those linebackers are 260 with the cowboy collar,
Oh, yeah.
with just taking on fullbacks. He's like, man, those days are done, man. You can thank all these camps. These guys are bigger, faster, stronger. The offenses are more advanced now. They want linebackers that can run.
That's right.
Be physical, but they can run. Luke Kuechly's not a very big guy, but when he puts it on somebody,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna feel it. You know what I mean? So it's just like these are the things that we try to incorporate in this game, and as well as the kids that I coach. It's just like you never want to be a one-dimensional linebacker because you get to college, hey, first down, oh, you stopped it, oh, you got to stop, okay, all right, come on now, we'll bring this other nickel back in for you.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
you want to be an every down linebacker.
Well, we've got just a few minutes, so before you leave, this is.
Hey, we ended up going a full hour.
Yes, absolutely. And so we always end the show with a couple of questions, and it's going to be for each of you.
Okay.
All right, and so don't worry about what your father thinks.
We already know what he's going to say.
You
I know what he's going to say. For sure.
We're predicting the Super Bowl, the next Super Bowl coming up, 2019.
Oh, okay.
I need your NFC team, your AFC team, and who's going to win it all. So let's first start with the NFC team from each of you, and I'll start with you, young man.
NFC.
Oh, man. Just, my goodness gracious. It's all happening here, folks.
I had too much to eat, man. God, right here.
Clock's ticking. Tick, tock, tick.
I said the Panthers.
Panthers.
Oh.
Okay, Panthers. All right. Dad. NFC team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jimmy G, man. I'm a Niners fan. I really think they got something special, man. I tell you what, the biggest thing is he's not under the radar.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
only thing. You know what I mean? They kind of crept they knew he was good.
Right.
They didn't know he was that good.
Yeah.
So I feel like just kind of like, I mean, you talk about a plug and play,
Oh, it's
goes
great.
undefeated. The last.
Well,
you know,
5-0, right?
Yeah, it was like it was. So now going into that, there's no way he's under the radar.
And then, of course, Landing Sherman. I mean, he's
Very
got
true.
a lot to prove to the
Yeah.
NFC
and
West
I feel
again.
in the way that a lot of people they kind of got down on him about his contract situation for kind of being basically more incentive based. So I really like that as a 49er fan. You know what I mean? Because
Some work.
yeah, he has no choice. Well, in his situation, he has a choice, but in his situation, he would love to play ball and make more money.
He's
right?
got a
So-
lot to prove, especially twice a year against Seattle. All right, your AFC team.
Okay, AFC.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see. I think I might go for the Cardinals.
No, Cardinals.
No,
NFC.
Cardinals, NFC.
Oh, yeah, NFC, right.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know how that's a hard one.
So you got the Patriots, the
Steelers,
you got the
Chargers. Well, who's kidding?
yeah,
Raiders.
Raiders. The Raiders.
yeah.
Well, I'll get back to you
I
on
said the
that.
Steelers.
You're going to go with the
Steelers.
Steelers?
Steelers, yeah.
All right, well, I hope I
Steelers,
didn't.
Steelers,
All right, Dad. AFC team.
Is Brady still playing?
Yeah, one more year, they're saying.
Yeah.
If this is his last year, how do you bet against that?
Now, you know what? I heard that they're shopping Gronkowski. Is that true?
I heard that.
I heard that they're shopping Gronkowski.
Yeah.
And I heard that the Niners were interested in Gronkowski. I don't know. That's just the rumor
It's
that
a
I heard.
one-year deal.
Yeah, I heard that. But I would love to. It'll probably be the Panthers. It'll probably be the Patriots, I mean.
Patriots,
The Patriots
okay.
and the
All
49ers.
right. Who's going to win it all? Panthers or Steelers?
I'll go with the Steelers.
Steelers, all right. Roy?
Niners all the way. Jimmy
Did
G,
I have to ask?
the young blood taking over for the
You know what's
taking
funny is
over.
when we had Ramsey in, both the guys were Raiders fans. Both the guys were Raiders across the board.
Yeah.
They're sweeping.
It wasn't even
16-0.
worth asking the question.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, we're just about out of time. I'd like to thank our guests for coming in, Roy Otis and his son Jaimih. Thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Join us next Wednesday. It will be the 27th, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. Have a great week.